open a Bud Light and relax already. Even the vice president took a break from humping his ottoman to complain about not just me, you.
On Jimmy Kimmel's television program and on The Daily Show this week, you have audiences outright cheering, seeing the images of Teslas on fire across the country. And I saw that and I thought, man, that really is a sign of how much the left has conditioned people to think that that's acceptable.
J.D. Vance appeared to believe that taking a shot at Jimmy Kimmel would earn him easy approval from the MAGA crowd. Instead, it became another awkward public setback that highlighted just how sensitive Trump's closest allies have become to criticism. The controversy began after Kimmel repeatedly targeted Vance during his monologues, going far beyond jokes about his public image or occasionally awkward demeanor. Rather than focusing only on personality, Kimmel dug into Vance's political history and record, putting uncomfortable facts back into the spotlight for millions of viewers to see.
Today, Donald Trump signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not. Trump famously said he loves the poorly educated, and now we will have so many more people to love. Trump signed the order during an event at the White House. They invited a group of children to attend. They're like, hey, kids, who hates school? And they're like, well, we do. And they said, well, good news, it's over.
Kimmel reminded audiences that Vance had not always been one of Trump's most devoted supporters. In fact, he once compared Trump to one of the darkest figures in modern history, described Trumpism as a corrosive force within American culture, and publicly warned conservatives about Trump's influence. Yet once political opportunity appeared within reach, Vance's position seemed to shift dramatically. Almost overnight, he went from outspoken critic to one of Trump's most loyal defenders. Kimmel hardly needed to exaggerate anything because Vance's own past interviews provided all the material. Every archived clip painted a picture that critics argued looked less like political evolution and more like a willingness to abandon previous convictions in exchange for proximity to power. That was the part that seemed to frustrate Vance the most. Unlike political analysts who spend hours debating policy, comedians can replay a politician's own words in a matter of seconds, placing past and present side by side with nowhere to escape the comparison.
They covered a wide range of subjects, including his son, Barron.
You talked the other day about how music was your aptitude as a child. But is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I'd try turning off his car, I'd turn it off, I'd turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later, he's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in technology.
Oh, yeah.
The situation intensified when Kimmel focused on one of the most controversial episodes connected to Vance's campaign, the Springfield migrant rumor. Despite repeated efforts by local officials and journalists to disprove claims that Haitian migrants were stealing and eating household pets, the story continued to circulate, and Vance was criticized for helping amplify it. According to critics, the narrative survived because outrage attracts attention, and attention drives headlines. Kimmel used the controversy to illustrate how quickly misinformation can spread when political figures prioritize visibility over accuracy.
Vice President Maybelline was making the rounds, attempting to defend his boss and the chairman of the FCC with a new fairy tale even a 5-year-old wouldn't believe.
By walking viewers through the story's evolution, he argued that reckless claims can gain momentum when facts become secondary to publicity. Things escalated further when Vance responded not by addressing the criticism itself, but by attacking Kimmel's television ratings and suggesting that the show deserved cancellation. That argument quickly lost momentum because audience interest actually grew as the controversy intensified. The more prominent MAGA figures criticized Kimmel, the more visibility they unintentionally gave him. What was meant to weaken his platform ended up expanding it, creating a textbook example of critics amplifying the very voice they hoped to diminish. Meanwhile, the Trump administration was already facing criticism over efforts to dismantle the Department of Education. Opponents argued that the move could undermine public education systems and create uncertainty for states across the country. Kimmel seized on the issue by highlighting what he portrayed as an obvious contradiction. Trump had often spoken about his support among less educated voters, and Kimmel joked that the administration now seemed determined to increase that demographic even further. The line spread rapidly online because many viewers felt it touched on a broader concern. Around the same period, protests involving Tesla erupted in multiple locations. Public frustration directed at Elon Musk intensified following layoffs and his increasingly visible political involvement, leading to demonstrations, and in some cases, vandalism targeting Tesla properties. Many conservative commentators immediately rushed to Musk's defense, portraying Tesla as an American institution under attack. Kimmel pointed out what he viewed as a striking inconsistency. Some of the same voices that had previously dismissed protests suddenly became deeply concerned when the protests involved protests on someone they politically supported. He repeatedly highlighted how standards of outrage seemed to shift depending on who was affected. While cable hosts and conservative influencers focused heavily on condemning left-wing extremism, many Americans were paying attention to a different issue altogether. They questioned why billionaires and political figures often appeared to receive more protection and sympathy than ordinary workers facing layoffs and economic uncertainty. Throughout all of this, J.D. Vance continued appearing on podcasts, interviews, and media programs to defend Trump, Musk, and administration policies. Yet each appearance seemed to revive the same problem. The more he spoke, the more people remembered the earlier version of J.D. Vance, the one who had openly warned Americans about Trump before later becoming one of his strongest allies. That contrast remained impossible for critics to ignore, and that is ultimately why Jimmy Kimmel's jokes landed with such force. They were not simply punchlines designed to generate laughter. They served as reminders. Reminders that the internet preserves nearly everything. Reminders that old interviews never truly disappear. And reminders that when a politician dramatically reshapes their public identity in pursuit of power, someone will eventually place the past and the present side by side for everyone to examine.